Welcome to this overview. This overview shows how eScreener helps in streamlining activities of placement consultants and recruitment firms. Let's first have a look at typical workflow at a recruitment firm. Firstly, requirements are received from the client. Secondly, suitable candidates are searched in the database. Thirdly, candidates are screened. Fourth, candidates are shortlisted and presented to the client. And finally, client select candidates and requirement is closed. As shown in this diagram, ability to choose a requirement is directly related to richness of your resume database. More resumes you have in your database, better chances of finding a match. Resume management system with extensive search features make matching of requirement to candidate easier and efficient. In order to build a strong resume database, you need a resume sourcing process in place. Typically, that is done by posting jobs on portal, running an ad in newspaper, etc. Efficiency of sourcing process is key to building a sourced resume database. Strong resume database. Let's look at each of the aspects in detail and see how eScreener helps you. Using eScreener, you can streamline process of requirement handling. By default, eScreener provides a requirement handling process. But you can customize your own workflow and eScreener would enforce that. Let's have a look at requirement customization page. Rows on this page show stages of your requirement handling process and columns show stages that are allowed after each status. To change the status, you can simply click on the link and it would open a window with each details of that status. Here you can specify details about the status, including whether profile attached to this requirement should be sent to a client when the status is selected. Using this page, you can fully customize your requirement handling process. Each requirement belongs to a contact and a contact belongs to a client. You can have multiple contacts for a client and a contact may have multiple requirements. You can manage clients and contacts using menus provided in top. Let's create one requirement. I can create a new requirement by clicking on New Requirement in Requirements menu. It opens up a page where you can enter details about requirement, that is, what skill, experience, qualification, etc. are required for this requirement. If you have a requirement in a document, you can simply do copy-paste and system would automatically parse the requirement and get required information. Let's parse one requirement. As you would see, requirement has been parsed and key information has been extracted. Let's save this requirement. After a requirement has been created, you can assign it to other user to do subsequent handling of the requirement. When the other user logs in, he would be able to see requirements that are assigned to him and would be able to process them. You can define various bases of requirement handling process and assign it to different users to complete requirement. This allows efficient streamlining of requirement handling process. Let's see how you search candidate from your resume database using requirement directly. Clicking on candidate menu brings to candidate search page. There's a drop down box for active requirements. Simply select the requirement and click on search and it would give you candidate matching that requirement. eScreener allows you to upload profile for the candidate in your standard format. For each candidate, eScreener stores resume and profile separately. To upload profile of a candidate, you can click on this icon. To shortlist a candidate for a requirement, simply select this icon and it would attach this candidate to a selected requirement. Let's do that. Let's add few more candidates to this requirement. Now that candidates are identified for this requirement, let's assign it to the other users for screening. After screening is complete, it would be assigned to other user for shortlisting. Let's say during screening we found that only 2 candidates are fit for requirement. So only 2 candidates are shortlisted. We can remove a candidate from requirement using this icon, and then we can present these profiles to the client. In our customization, we have defined that when user selects presentation stage, profile should be submitted to the client. Here, on this requirement, it shows that candidate that we have been shortlisted for this requirement. Now, if I open status window for this requirement, I can select presentation status and profile of candidate added to requirement would be sent to the client. Once client interviews the candidate, you can close the requirement. As using eScreener, you can process requirement more efficiently and quickly.